Hey guys, today I'm chatting with Michaela Shelton, one of the co-owners of Queen Media Collective and the creative mind behind Reckless Behavior, which is a super fun and quirky internet show. We're talking today about her creative process and how exactly she does what she does. So I hope you guys enjoy. So this episode of All Day Britney is sponsored by Joyful and Company, which is an online bath and body boutique, and they carry vegan, cruelty-free, organic bath products like the Enchanted Rose Mineral Powder, which is a really cool powder that you can sprinkle down in your bath or you can sprinkle on your loofah before you get in the shower. The Mood Bath Salts, which are also amazing for a really fun time in the bath. And also Mermaid's Essence, which is one of their best sellers and my personal favorite. It's a body wash. It smells amazing. It leaves your skin feeling super smooth and super clean. So thank you so much, Joyful and Company, for your support. And I will drop their links down in the description box below. And with that being said, on to the show. Hi guys, it is Brittany with All Day Britney, and today I am chatting with Michaela Shelton, one of the co-founders of Queen Media Collective and also the creative mind behind Reckless Behavior, which is a super cool kind of quirky, thought-provoking web show that you can catch on YouTube and a couple of other locations as well, which I'm going to drop in the description box. So, Michaela, thank you so much for chatting with me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited, and I love your platform.
Thank you so much. And I was just going to say the same about yours. I was checking out your site the other day, and it is a great site, and I love the name, Queen Media Collective. So walk me through kind of how you came up with that. How did that come into existence, so to speak?
Okay, so I had my own blog for about 3 years.
Okay.
And after I graduated from college, I just wanted to reach more of a broader audience because my articles were already getting like 200 to 300 views.
Nice.
But I was like, okay, if I built this into something bigger and incorporated more people that have different lifestyles, people that are parents, people that are married, people that are a part of the LGBTQ community, I can just reach a much bigger audience. So I'm a creative. I'm not much of a business savvy person. So I reached out to one of my girls, Imani Baylor, who whenever we hung out, just even if we were just chilling or drinking, it would just always end up being like a little business meeting.
Yes. Love those kind of friends.
Yes, like always just talking business, the moves we want to make. So I was like, I need you to come over. I want to expand my website. I want to create an actual brand. And she came over, started giving me some ideas. And I was like, honestly, we need to do this together. We need to found this together with both of our ideas because I'm the creativity and you're the creative plus the business. So that's pretty much how that came about. She came over, we got some sangria.
Of course.
And just started brainstorming what we wanted it to look like.
Awesome. And so I love how you said you wanted to kind of switch it up and kind of be all encompassing so that you can make sure you reach everybody. So what kind of topics do you guys cover on the blog?
So we cover parenting, marriage, lifestyle, sexuality. We like to interview and feature up and coming entrepreneurs and artists. So it's a lot. It's a lot of different topics that we like to cover.
Yeah. So something for everybody, basically.
Yes.
That's awesome.
We pretty much just wanted to create a platform for people of color to express themselves. So we're pretty open as far as something that people want to put out there. Like we just had a new writer join. Her name is Marcella, and she talks about being an undocumented immigrant from Brazil. So as soon as she reached out to me, I was like, oh, absolutely. Because I know there's a lot of other people that have experienced that are here who may want someone to relate to. So she's half Brazilian and half Black. So adding her to the team, definitely. I'm like, okay, now we're reaching even more people. And I just love that. I just want to keep building it with different people and different lifestyles.
That is amazing. We need more of that. So more Black and POC voices. That is awesome. I love that. So I also read that Reckless Behavior was screened at the, what is it called? The Pan-African Film and Arts Festival. So what was that like? That is, I love that because you make something that is, basically for us and, features people that look like us, and then to be recognized by your peers, that must have been super, super cool.
It was so cool. It was amazing to just be in the space with so many of us.
Yes.
Like there were people that came from Africa. They like just would describe their journey of sleeping in their cars, sleeping on the street so they could fulfill their dreams in Los Angeles. And of course, there were people from all different states. So just being able to network and let people know what my journey was like and listen to their stories, it was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And seeing people, they pretty much screened people's series and movies all day.
Okay.
So we would just be able to go to different, it was at a movie theater. So we could just go into different theaters and just watch these stories. And after they would have a Q&A with the creatives. And I was just like, oh my God, I cannot believe I'm a part of this.
Yes.
It was phenomenal.
That is the coolest thing ever. I love that. So, all right. So speaking of this series, let's kind of get into that reckless behavior. So is this your first web show?
Yes.
Okay. And how did you come up with the concept for reckless behavior?
So before Queen Media Collective, my blog was called Reckless Behavior.
Gotcha.
And I pretty much was just like, all the decisions I've made in life and I'm currently making are a little bit reckless, so I might as well call it that.
Honest, I like it.
Yeah, I was like, it is what it is. And after graduating from college in 2015, I graduated with a journalism degree and a minor in radio, TV, and film. Mm-hmm. So I kind of thought, I'm going to get married, have kids, I'm going to get a great job and make all this money. And then after like a year, I'm like, what is this? This is not how I thought my life was going to go.
Like, where's the husband? What's going on?
Yeah, I was like, I have nothing. I am struggling. And student loans are like, hey.
Student loan. Oh, Lord. That is like a whole other interview.
Yeah, but I never tripped off it because I'm like, oh, I'm going to be rich anyway. So these student loans are nothing. So I just felt so defeated and so bamboozled and so frustrated. And, you know, I was trying to date at the same time as figure my life out. And I'm like, this is making things worse. Like, these men are not what that's a whole nother interview too. But yeah, I just had to get it out. I was like, writing's always been therapeutic for me. Yeah. I would start writing about my dating experiences, living with my parents again, because I was like, okay, I'm too broke. I don't have that dream job. So I got to move back in with my parents and just moving back in with them as a 22-year-old and how that was going. And I would just write about everything I was going through. And someone reached out to me to write a review of their web series. And I'm like, oh, I've never watched a web series before. Let me check it out. So I checked it out and I was like, this is really cool. And it just made me start thinking, what if I did this to my blogs? Like, I know I'm reaching an audience by writing these articles, but I'm like, more people are into digital content. So it just made me think, like, what if I turned it into like a TV version?
Yes. That is super, super cool. I love that. Yeah. And I also love, so like I told you before, we definitely sat down and like we binge watched everything, the whole series, which was super, or the whole season, I should say, which was super cool. And so I love that they were like these really cool, like bite-sized episodes. They're very easy to consume, you know, kind of quick, get in, get out. So how did you come to decide to do that? And what was the reason for going that route as opposed to doing like the 20 or 30 minute episodes or even like an hour?
So at first I was like, yeah, they're going to be 30 minutes. But then my business partner, she's a little more logical than I am. I'm kind of like, let's just do it. She's like, well, we don't know what we're doing. And I'm just like, well, we'll figure it out. Like, I get really excited. And she's just like, wait, this is our first project. This is your first time writing the script. Maybe for the first one, we should keep it a little small.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Because if I make 8 30-minute episodes and people aren't really vibing with it and I find out I'm not a good script writer, you know, then it's 30. That's a lot of content. Like, how many hours is that? That's like 4 hours. So I was like, you know what? You're right. This is the first project, my first script ever. Mm-hmm. Let me just make them 10 to 15 minutes and see how it goes.
Gotcha. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I think that makes a lot of sense, actually. So. And so we watched Michaela in the show kind of, you know, move through her life, and she struggled a little bit with her love life and much of the same things that you were talking about with the blog, as far as like, you know, trying to figure out what she wants to do with her job and all of that stuff. So I'm curious, what is next for her in season 2?
So of course I don't want to say too much, but in season 2, you see a much more confident Michaela. Yeah. She feels freedom since she left this job that she's been working at that she hated so much. So she's still trying to find herself, but she's a lot more confident and she just knows her worth. like just dealing with the men that you saw her deal with
Yeah.
in season 1. In season 2, she's more so like, yeah, I'm worth way more than this.
Yeah.
I can't just ignore these red flags. And just her still trying to figure her life out, but just very focused on herself, very focused on her self-esteem, very focused on her relationships, and making sure that the people around her are beneficial and positive.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was interesting that you brought up the red flags too, because the relationship with Damien, I think his name was interesting certainly interesting to watch, because I feel like a lot of us, we deal with, especially being like younger and stuff, well, older too. I think it's just like a general thing. Deal with, people, and then you look back on it like 5 years from now and you're like, why on earth did I even put up with that foolishness?
Girl, me and my best friend were just talking about our past relationships the other day. We were like, that was embarrassing. Like, oh God. But I'm like, you know what? We learned from them. We grew. That's all that matters. Learning experiences. Yes. We can't sit here and beat ourselves up about the past.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It was a learning experience. I love that. Yeah. So I love that your characters, besides Michaela, you've got like a whole kind of, what would you call that? Not a supporting cast, but a whole group that's really, really awesome. And they're super relatable. So I'm curious, are they based on any like real life situations or any, I don't want to say like specific friends, because I don't want to like try to call you out, but maybe any real life experiences.
Well, most of the characters are based off real people, and those people know. Okay. Well, except some of the people are portrayed more of a negative light, but yeah, most of the people, like my brother and sister, they're pretty much accurate to my real brother and sister. Okay. All of the friends were inspired off someone. The only characters that really weren't inspired off anyone were Jeremiah, who's like my mentor. Okay. In Reckless Behavior, and Jalil, the one that works at the store that has the girlfriend. Those two characters were like completely made up. Everyone else is pretty much someone I've dealt with. Okay, that's cool. And I'm curious, so how does that conversation go? Like, hey, so I'm doing a web show and there's a character that you may find a little familiar, just like heads up. So what does that conversation sound like? Well, my very best friends, I sent them my scripts, and they're pretty chill. They were just like, wow, this is just like me. And I'm like, yep. Or some of the moments in the show are actually like what things that actually happened was. Some of it, of course, was embellished, for the purpose of storytelling. But some of the moments, like the buying of the brick in episode 1, that actually happened. So no, oh my God. So my best friend was just like, oh my God, he was dying laughing. And I was like, yeah, that happened. I was like, nobody knows who you are, but we know. Yeah, you're like, if you know him, you're like, oh, that happened. That's yeah, cool. certain people who know about it, they were like, you really put this in your show. I love that. Oh yeah, you're good. You're good. Think like the people that were portrayed more negatively, I'm like, ooh, what if they're watching this? This is kind of awkward. Yeah. And that brings me into the next question. So you deal with a lot of, real life situations, crazy, insane roommates, friends that you may or may not have outgrown since, everyone kind of moves on to their different paths. And so I'm curious, what was the main message that you wanted to portray with Reckless Behavior? The main message I wanted to portray is definitely just, you're not alone. Yeah. I feel like for me personally, whenever I go through things, I'm just like, why is this happening to me? Like, this is embarrassing. This is not fair. And I'm like, I am not the only one struggling. I'm not the only one getting my heart broken. I'm not the only one broke and dealing with my family, not accepting that I'm an adult. Like, I know I'm not the only one. So then as I started writing and people would get back to me, some friends and some strangers, I'm just like, oh, like, this is proof. Like, even strangers are saying, I can relate to this. Thank you for opening up and being transparent. So yeah, with the show, I just wanted to let people know, like, everyone goes through things. Michaela is a representation of all of us. And sometimes we know that we're not making the right decision. We do anyway. Just too hard for yourself. Yeah, that's real life. It happens. Yeah. And so what is, because I've always been so much of a perfectionist. I'm a Capricorn. I don't know if you're into signs. Yeah, a little. I'm a Sagittarius, but I feel like I'm not like a
like a real sag. So I don't really go, yeah, but my husband is a Libra and he is a true Libra. So
yeah, sometimes it's
so I get it. Yeah.
And I feel like all Capricorns I know, we're so hard on ourselves. And we're just like, oh, life has to be perfect. And at some point, I'm like, you know what? Life is going to be what it is.
It's a little messy, and that's just real talk. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. So then that would be, I guess, so that would that be your advice to anyone that is going through something similar? Or what kind of words of encouragement would you offer them?
Oh, there's so much. I would say as far as relationships, don't ignore red flags. Yeah. Don't ever ignore red flags. Don't think you can change somebody. Like I said earlier, know your worth. Know your standards, what you're willing to put up with, not put up with. Yeah. And friendships. It's okay to let people go. It's okay to outgrow people. Definitely want people to know that, because the friendship that I showed with Dominique, that was something I really went through. And it was so hard for me because every time I hung out with this person, I just felt like this is forced. Like we aren't the same people we were in high school. And here I am trying to hang out. I'm like, okay, in 2 hours will be enough. Go.
You put in FaceTime and then
yeah. And then the blow up scene that happened in episode 6, that was pretty much a text message that we had in real life, where she was just like, oh, well, we can just drop the best because you don't act like a best friend anymore. And I just didn't text back. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm tired of arguing. We literally are not the same people we were in high school. Yeah. So letting that go just felt like such a burden lifted off my shoulder. I was just like, whew. And I want people to know that it's okay to outgrow people. It's okay. Like no hate. If I see you, I'm going to speak, but
absolutely. Still wish them the best, but yeah.
Okay to move on.
Definitely.
And just don't get discouraged. I feel like, especially with things happening right now, as far as, the coronavirus, the things that are happening with Black Lives Matter movement, and so many of us losing our lives, that we can't get discouraged. We have to be positive, surround ourselves with positive people, and make sure that we are practicing self-care. So absolutely, I would just say those things. Make sure we're taking care of ourselves.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that you brought up like Black Lives Matter. We are experiencing, I think you would call it like a renaissance of sorts. Things are changing. We're having a lot of really difficult conversations. And it seems like, at least in some spaces, we are finally being heard. But I also think sometimes it has been really helpful to kind of take a break from all of that and just, like you said, practice self-care. And watch a really good show like Reckless Behavior and be like, and just, yes, we really enjoyed it. We put the kids to bed early and we were just like, this is great.
It makes me so nervous when I hear that people are watching it. Thank you. And I love that, like sometimes I'll have conversations or people will interview me and I can tell they didn't watch it. And I'm just like, you gotta do your research on the person that you're talking to. So I appreciate that you've been watching the whole thing. That means so much to me.
Of course. Absolutely. Yes. I take it. I really appreciate you coming on the show. So I take it super seriously. So I was like, we definitely have to check this out. So I can ask intelligent questions.
Oh yeah. When you sent me the questions, I was like, oh, these are very specific. These aren't like the general, what do you do? What are your goals in 5 years?
Yeah. So where do you see the show going?
No, and see, like I appreciate being featured on any platform, but to know this someone did their research, I'm like, oh, she takes this really serious. And of course I take my art very serious. So it just takes it to another level. We can have a deeper conversation because like exactly what it is.
Of course. And so, so speaking of that, so I do know that you are going to do a season 2. So we're super excited. And that's coming out next year, correct?
Yes. So I've actually just got out of my funk because we were shooting season 2. We shot 1 episode. Okay. And everybody's momentum was going, but I'm in California and the coronavirus has it's just gotten so much worse. And I was like, you know what? As much as I want to keep filming, the creative in me wants to keep going. I have to be a responsible leader. Okay. So we actually paused filming right now.
Okay. Gotcha.
And I still plan on the show coming out next year. At first I said January, but I know that's not going to happen. I accepted it. So I'm thinking probably around the fall, just kind of waiting to see what happens with this pandemic so we can start filming again and it's safe.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we will definitely keep our eyes open and we'll be praying for you guys in California. I know there are different hotspots kind of like all over the country. So I don't know. I've been like following everything. Like I've been following the vaccine Because I'm like, when is this gonna be over?
See, I kind of stopped because I was like, I don't know if they're telling the truth. They keep prolonging this. I'm like, I don't even know, because I started filming on June 28th. That's the date that I had set for everyone. And I was like, okay. I was like, June 28th, this will be over.
Yeah.
And here we are.
When it shut down, I was like, we had a trip to Houston planned. I was like, oh, there's no way we're still going to be dealing with this around the 4th of July. And here we are, and it's August, and it's like,
I just hate the uncertainty. It's so, it's just so awkward and uncomfortable. And I see some people just living their best lives, and I'm like, not me.
Yeah, that's
not worth it.
Yeah, that is not for me. But yeah, but again, that's why we like the distractions. We like, good entertainment. So again, thank you so much for doing this. And you guys, I will drop all of Michaela's links to her web show and also to her website. You should definitely check it out. There's some good stuff on there. So I'll drop all of that in the description box, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye. And thank you so much, Brittany.
Yes, of course. That was a super fun interview. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you've seen Reckless Behavior, tell me about it in the comments below. Let's discuss. Let's talk about it. If you haven't, don't worry. I'm dropping Michaela's links in the description box so you can binge watch the entire first season and prepare for the second season, which will be coming very soon. If you love this video and you want to see more like it, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time. Bye.